Jeff, Heggie, Daily Success Strategies. Thanks for being with me today. I hope things are going well for you. Today what I want to talk about is lessons learned from failure. I've talked about a lot of different things, whether it's failure or setting goals, all those different sort of things, that whether it's here or on other podcasts, a lot of times what you hear is theoretically, this is what you should do. This is how things work. I think there's a lot more to be learned from a lesson when it's an actual experience. So what I want to do is I want to share one of my stories with you today, and hopefully it will give you some insight from my experience that can help you when you're either in a similar experience or maybe if you're going through something similar right now. So talking about failure, I had a project that had been years in the making. We had been working on it for a long time, had done some incredibly great things, had some really tough times as well. And it came to a point where we just couldn't keep it going. And so we had to wrap things up and shut it down. And it was tough. You know, we talk about all the learning from your failures, and it's part of entrepreneurship. You know, you fail and move on and all those different things. It's true, but that doesn't change the fact when you're actually going through it, it's hard. It's not enjoyable. And, you know, when you've put everything you've got into something, and for it not to work out is really difficult, emotionally, mentally, financially, everything. And so it's hard. But you know, there are so many lessons that are available to be learned from it. So in this experience, I actually had a call from one of the people that was financially invested in the project, and it really opened my eyes to a few things, because it would have been really easy for this individual during this call to, you know, really be upset about things, you know, whose fault was it, what were the problems, all those different things. But it's not how the conversation went. He spent a lot of the time talking about the good things that had happened, talking about the different things that had happened that were innovative, that, you know, the projects that came together because of it, the people that were involved, and just kind of changing the focus and recognizing in what he had said the fact that, of course, as an investor, you always want to win. You don't want to lose. But also as an investor, you know there is that chance. But as we talked about it, one of the things he asked me was, what are the lessons you've learned? And one of the lessons that I can say was really important for me to learn in this situation was around the fact of failing fast. You know, you hear that saying, fail fast, fail often, whatever you hear. But how this worked with me is there was a number of situations in this project that could have made us end and fail sooner. But for various reasons, I was very determined not to let this project fail. I was very determined from a personal financial perspective, from my investors, everything. I didn't want to let this fail. But in the long run, you know, some of those things that happened should have been things that made this project fail. But we were able to do things to keep it going. But in the end, it still ended up having to be shut down. And when I look at that now, you know, looking at the concept of fail faster and what I think that means in this situation was there was a period where we had almost failed, but we were able to pull some things through and keep it going. But from that point to when it did end, there wasn't a real positive spike. There was a lot of good things that happened, but nothing really took off for us. But what it did end up doing is, if we look at the losses we faced when we failed versus what the losses would have been at that other point, if we would have failed sooner, the losses would have been less. And so it's interesting to look at, if I would have failed faster, we still would have faced losses. We still would have gone through the hard things. But the losses would have been less than they were when I tried to drag it out longer. Of course, I drug it out with all good intentions and with all the hope that it was going to come through. But that's another lesson learned, is hope's important. You know, I've talked about it before, hope is greater than fear, but hope isn't a business plan either. And we had some things lined up that would have worked out really well. This is what made it difficult. There were some things that were lined up that made it work well, but they didn't pull through for us. So if you're going through a situation like this in the future, right now, whatever the case may be, something to consider. You know, really analyze your situation and what is the reality of being able to pull out and being able to recover and get things going again. Because if it's not, failing faster might be the answer. Anyways, hope this is helpful for somebody. If this is something you are going through right now and you would like anyone to run thoughts and ideas off, you'd like to hear some strategies and just anything, I'd love to jump on a free strategy call with you. So DM me or email me at jeff@jeffheggie.com. Otherwise, if you know anyone that this could be helpful for, please share it with them, and we will see you again tomorrow.